Welcome to Capture the World with Dee. Interviews with companies and individuals to learn more about digitally capturing the built world. Video, drone, 3D tours, pictures, panoramas, and more. And now your host, a social influencer and community activist, Dee Johnson.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Capture the World with Dee. I'm your host this morning, Dee Johnson. My guest today is the CEO of North America, Immoviewer. It's a powerful software platform that combines automated video content creation and individual listing landing pages with simple, affordable, and scalable 360 and 3D tours and automated floor plan creation. Please help me welcome the CEO, Jeff Turner. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for joining me
How
today.
are you, Dee?
I'm
Good to
doing well.
talk to you again.
Alrighty, so Immoviewer, sort of the little known secret out there. So tell me a little bit
Well,
about.
it's funny that we're in the little known secret. Let me just correct something real quick for everybody watching. I stepped down as CEO and I run strategy now for North America for Immoviewer. So my official title, though I really don't care what my title is Chief Strategy Officer. Um, it's funny that people always say little known because Immoviewer, just to give a little background, has been a leader in the creation of these automated real estate videos in Europe for more than a decade. And they were the first foreign company ever to be accepted into NAR's Reach Accelerator program in 2017. So they definitely have a presence on the world stage, and they certainly have a certain amount of presence here in the United States.
Mhm.
We have, as I was talking to you earlier, we have almost 200,000 agents on our platform in the United States. My my strategy for taking Immoviewer from where it was in 2017 when it came into the NAR Reach program to where it is now, more focused on another product that we've created that's focused on the restoration and home inspection arena called DocuSketch,
Mhm.
sort of moved us away from focusing our sales and advertising energy on the residential real estate market and moved us into an area that I felt, and obviously it's proving to be true, was going to be a market that was more receptible is not a word, more receptive, more receptive to to um, to 360 3D technology.
Yeah, well, okay. I love your platform. I love what you guys have done. So tell us a little bit more about. So anybody who's in the insurance restoration industry should watch 2 weeks from now when we're going to be talking about DocuSketch. But today we're going to be mainly focusing on
Yeah,
Immoviewer, right, for real estate agents.
yeah. So Immoviewer got its start in Europe, doing what now is a pretty common thing in the United States. The first company that I launched into the real estate industry was a company called Real Estate Shows, and we were the first company to introduce the sort of Ken Burns effect: take a static photo, zoom in and out of the photo to create a virtual tour of sorts.
Hmm.
And Immoviewer automated that process in Europe, again, more than a decade ago. And we're the largest supplier of that content in Europe. Most of the major portals in Europe, so the largest portal in Germany and France and Spain and Portugal, all use Immoviewer as the basic technology. Ralph von Grafenstein was on a skiing trip, and he was testing out some action cameras when he stumbled across a 360 camera, and it occurred to him that there was the potential to do something different in
Hmm.
the real estate industry utilizing consumer grade 360
Yeah.
cameras that were being really produced and targeted towards a different market. And so he developed the Immoviewer 360 platform specifically to augment what they were already doing in Europe. And they launched it in Europe, and they were fairly successful in Europe in doing it. And I'll explain why the difference in success in Europe with it is unusual and different than what can happen in the United States. and decided that they needed to enter the U.S. market. And so the the National Association of Realtors has a venture capital arm, Second Century Ventures. I'm entrepreneur in residence with Second Century Ventures, so I participate in that entity. They were accepted into NAR's Reach Accelerator program in 2017, and they were the first company outside of the United States accepted into that accelerator program. And that's where I met Ralph and Steve Bentz. I've been a mentor with the Reach program since 2013. And so in my first mentor session with them, I really loved what they were doing. Like, you know, the excitement that you're showing about Immoviewer now, I had the same level of excitement, but I really felt like they were approaching the market wrong. And I shared that with them in my first meeting with them. And they were intrigued. Well, long story short, I came on as North American CEO about 5.5 months later. And we began making some changes on how we went to the market. And one of those changes was to bring that video platform to the United States and take a different strategy. Go and create an opportunity for real estate associations to take a member benefit out to their members, where they got access to the videos at no charge, unbranded videos at no charge, but were given the Immoviewer 360 platform to utilize. And the only thing they end up having to pay for are the floor plans, because the floor plans for us are where the real magic sits inside of these 360 videos. Lots of people, you can upload 360 photos, you can create a 360 tour,
Yep.
but we own all of the intellectual property and all of the services that sit behind the creation of a tour to the point that a floor plan is created. We do it all. We have 2 separate pieces of artificial intelligence technology. Before a human being finalizes that floor plan, we do it all from standard 2-dimensional, equal rectangular 360 images. And quite frankly, it's magic. And I really think the ultimate value, I think 360 tours are great. I love the ability to see a home and to walk through a home using a 360 tour. I don't particularly enjoy having to navigate through a home in a 360 tour. I love the integration that we do with floor plans that allows me to jump from the living room over to the master bedroom, the opportunity for me to get a true understanding of the spatial relationship, because people are used to looking at floor plans. So I end up navigating through our tours using the floor plan. I rarely use the hotspot navigation that moves through a tour. So I think floor plans are the ultimate win here. I really do. And I think the industry, the real estate industry, is moving towards trying to standardize how floor plans are shown in listings. And ultimately, that's going to be a win for both the consumer and the real estate industry.
So I've always said this, the first company that can go from 360 panos to a floor plan is the winner. And it has to be automated. None of this lying when it's really just humans generating on the back end. So my understanding.
So I don't think it's ever going to be fully automated. And I say ever because of, I'm sitting in my office right now. If I'm in a space and it's completely empty, I can see every corner, then yes, I can get really close. With the automation we have now, I can get really close. But in a situation like this, where my couch blocks the corner over there, I've got a television that blocks the corner over there, I've got a bookshelf that blocks the corner here. Depending on the height of the camera, my stand-up desk blocks this corner. You actually can't see any corner of this room. And so as a result, you can use a lot of different training methods to get this first section, and I'll explain a little bit of how our AI works, but to get that first section, which is the development of this 3-dimensional box, you can get it close. But humans are uniquely trained to sort of understand, okay, I know where the corners should be. And again, sometimes you can use the ceiling and you can extrapolate from the ceiling to do that, but not always. And that's why I believe there's always going to be the need for some level of human interaction to double check that the
that's
AI
the key.
gets it right.
Double check, but not to do all of it.
No, no, no. No, I mean we're already at the place with the AI at Immoviewer that um, the three-dimensional box is created almost instantaneously. And so that initial box that's identifying corners and windows and doors and all of that happens as just it's fed in, the box is created. The second piece of AI is the puzzle maker,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's where it's taking all of these boxes and saying, I've got all these boxes. What's the right way for these boxes on each floor to fit
Yep.
together? Because there's only one or two ways that those boxes could, and typically only one way they can fit together. And so if you think about it from the simplest standpoint, a one-story home is going to have rooms that have windows. Those are always going to be on the outside. Is going to have rooms that have doors to hallways. Those are always going to be on the inside. There's only so many ways those boxes can go together. And it's possible to train, again, a computer to say, how do these puzzle pieces fit together? That's really what we do.
Yeah. So so this is the most automation that I've seen with floor plan creation. And how accurate are the measurements? Do you
So
provide measurements?
we do provide measurements. We don't put the measurements in what you see in the tours because it muddies up the tour.
Hmm.
We don't automatically provide measurements to any of our realtor clients in Immoviewer. If they request them, they can download the measurements. We're rethinking that strategy because of the work we're doing with Pillar to Post, quite frankly, on the home inspection side. So
Mm-hmm.
Pillar to Post is launching the DocuSketch product, which we'll talk about later, across all of their home inspections across all of North America.
Hmm.
That rollout is beginning. What we've learned through that process is that there is a way for us to put a reasonable disclaimer on this that protects everyone. There's so much involved in accuracy. So for us, we're not using point cloud technology like some other companies use, which basically is scanning all of the objects in the room. We don't care about the objects in the room. We only care about the walls, doors, and windows,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So as a result, we use a single vector typically to create that floor plan. And that vector is the height of the center of the camera lens to the floor at the position of the camera. Now, if you measure that accurately, then the accuracy of the floor plan is going to be between plus or minus 5%. It also depends on the size of the room. The smaller the room, the higher the accuracy, because think about
Hmm.
there's the same number of pixels in the image of a 4 by 4 foot room as there are in an image of a 40 by 40 foot room.
Hmm.
So if you only take a single photo in a 40 by 40 foot room, you're going to be far less accurate in your measurement.
Yep.
So we do have some standards that we like people to think about when they're taking a number of photos in a room, but the accuracy is plus or minus 5% across the board if we've got an accurate height of that camera lens.
So the users have to provide you with the height of the camera
That's right.
lens.
And so if the user provides us within an accurate height, the floor plan is going to be far off of accurate.
Yep.
If the camera is set at 5 feet 6 inches and you tell us it's 4 feet 6 inches, or more,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
thus
So that
the
makes
need for
sense.
disclaimers. I mean, we're completely at the mercy of the user in providing us with an accurate camera measurement.
So what if I measure it wrong and I'm come back to you and I'm like, oops, it really
Then
was.
we can change it.
Yeah. So this is the first company that's actually automated most of the process for floor plans. And that's what makes your company unique. That's what tells me that you've got some smart engineers behind you. And when you said to me, look, I was at this NAR Reach and I was a mentor for these guys and they changed things up. You know what that tells me? They listened to you because the first words, the first thing you
Well, they
said, you,
listen to the market. They listen to the market. And yes, I did have some ideas. And, one thing I'm never going to do is to say that these are all my ideas. Ideas happen as a result of good
right,
people
right.
who
But you
have
have to
shared common. You have to be able to
listen.
listen to each other.
Yeah.
Everyone at Immoviewer. I mean, I've worked at a lot of companies. I've been at a lot of startups as well. There's no ego at Immoviewer. These guys are fabulous. Natalia, who runs most of she's fabulous. I mean, She's fabulous, just brilliant. And so when you work with really good people and their egos get out of the way and the market tells you that something's not working, you put your heads together and you figure out how to make some
Yep.
changes to
Yep.
make certain that you're not just listening to the gut instincts of the executives, but you're also paying attention to what the market is saying. And the real estate market was clearly saying, we don't care about 360 tours. And I know that's going to sound crazy to people, but even all of the data coming from consumers, whether it's an NAR, buyer and seller report that's, going out and asking the consumer, what are you looking for? 87% of consumers say, I want to see a 3D tour, a true virtual tour before I go visit the house physically. And 90+% of realtors understand that that's true. But 2 years ago, less than 3% of homes had a virtual tour. In the middle of this pandemic,
Yep.
less than 5% of homes have a virtual tour. So if 87% of consumers want it and 90% of realtors say they know consumers want it and they're still not giving it to them, I'm not going to fight that. You've got to take a different path. You can't go out and try and convince realtors that this is the way to work. And
Yes. Yes.
honestly, that's why I'm saying I think the real win here is in being able to get to a floor plan cheaper, faster, quicker, utilizing the fastest tool available. And there are apps where you can go around and you can scan a room, but they take longer than a single 360 photo in a room. And when time on site, your time inside of that house becomes a critical factor, we think we have that nailed. So we think we've got the
Yes.
best of both worlds. What's the quickest way to capture? And at the end, you get a tour too. Like the tour becomes the bonus. The quickest way to capture and get a floor plan, and the cheapest way, because we only charge $25 to real estate agents for a floor plan.
Yeah.
You
Well,
can't get any
so
cheaper than that.
so what's the delivery time for your floor plans?
So in the real estate industry for Immoviewer, the turnaround time is 48 hours. In the restoration industry, it's 24 hours.
Okay, so why the difference?
Because there's no urgency.
Well, real estate agents need it urgently too.
No, there's not an insurance claim waiting on a floor
Okay,
plan.
but but if you can do it in the 24, so what's I
Most are
mean,
done. Most are done overnight.
yeah. So 48
It really
hours is a
it
long
depends
time.
on volume. I mean, it really just depends on the volume, because there is still a human element that sits on the back end of these floor plans, and depending on the complexity, if you think about the difference between a 1,000 square foot home and a 10,000 square foot home from a complexity
Yeah.
standpoint, massive complexity.
Yeah.
There's a lot more human involvement in a 10,000 square foot home, but exponentially more time than a 1,000 square foot home.
Okay. All right. So so I noticed on your website that you are using floor plans in conjunction with the 360 panos
Correct.
with the hotspots, and you can click
Mhm.
on the hotspots. So this is what I've always said, that the floor plans are necessary to do that. And right now, the way images are shown in real estate listings is they're the little film strip, right? And everybody hates that. The next way that we're going to view photos for real estate listings is the floor plan with the hotspots on them. That's the next step.
Yep.
So you're there already. This happens automatically, right?
Yep.
So that's key, because so many times I was like, this is a great bathroom, but I have no clue where that bathroom is in
Right.
this house.
Exactly.
So when you put it on a floor plan, I know exactly where that picture was taken. And 360s are way better than just static photos, because now I can look and I can see so much more, and I can
Yeah.
choose what I want to see.
Yeah. Absolutely. And this is the thing. My son goes to Boise State University. When he first went up to Boise, my wife was thinking, maybe we should buy a house up there, that he could live in off campus
Hmm.
for the next couple of
Sure.
years. And so I'd be traveling and she would send me, listings from various sites. And it was the most frustrating thing in the world. So the photos were fine,
Hmm.
some of them. but I could not get a sense for what this
Yes.
house, how this
Yes.
house flowed.
Yes.
There was no way for me to do that. And, every once in a while you don't have to, you'll end up being forced into being the consumer and experiencing what it's like to go through this search process. And a lot of the search process is fabulous. And in those rare instances where there was a floor plan, it was like magic.
Yeah.
It was like, that's the moment that you say to yourself, okay, this is what this is supposed to feel like. And I think that's true. I think in the end, what we're trying to get to in this real estate search process is this ability for the consumer to say, I want to go see this house, not because I can't figure out what this house is about, but because I can, and because now I'm really interested in this house. And yes, there may be lots and lots of circumstances where it's more advantageous for a realtor to market a home in a way that they withhold information so that they
I've heard that.
create more interest.
Yeah.
I've heard all of it. And honestly, those arguments they're good arguments. They really are. It's very difficult to argue. I've written about that many times in the past.
But
You know,
aren't
we're,
you then opening yourself up to having people come in and look who then decide very quickly, no, this is not the home for me,
of
and you're
course,
wasting your time, right?
but the logic behind doing that is you've now made a personal contact with that human, and you can then go show them another house that they'll end up buying from you.
Okay.
I totally get it. It's
Okay.
like it's putting more people in the top of your sales funnel. That's really what this is about.
Hmm.
Um, I think in general, the industry is. Hold on one second. By my bed upstairs. I forgot to bring it downstairs. Sorry.
Yeah, no
The
problem.
dangers of working from home.
Your real boss is
I
talking
was
to you, I
supposed
assume.
I was supposed to bring my other computer downstairs so my son could take a test, and I
Oh,
forgot
oh,
to do it.
that's your son, not your boss.
Everybody's your boss at some point, depending on your perspective. So anyway, I understand all those arguments, which is why you can try and fight through this by being rational,
Hmm.
right? Everything's about your perspective in this. I personally, from a consumer standpoint, and do I think most consumers want to have a more complete search experience where they don't have to? But absolutely they do.
Yes.
Absolutely they do. But is there also a good deal of logic for how some agents market homes and hold back certain kinds of marketing
Yep.
until a certain point? I know a very good realtor, who creates a video but doesn't release the video until 30 days into the sale. He wants to have a piece of marketing content that they hold back
Yeah.
so that they can take it out to the market to increase interest.
Yeah.
If the home is going to sell instantly, it's because it's priced right, it's in the right location, all of those things. If they've done something wrong, he wants to have that
I've
ready
heard
to
that.
go to say,
Yeah.
boom. And I think the same might end up being true for how people might utilize virtual tours and other things like that. One of the things, I've been in the real estate technology business since 2002, long enough to understand that me telling a realtor how to do their job is a bad idea. It's a
I
really bad
agree. I
idea,
agree.
right?
Totally. Yep.
And so I try not to tell realtors how to do their job. What I try to do is make the connection between what consumers are looking for and how technology plays a role in helping a realtor do their job more efficiently if that's the way they want to do their job. And so I've on the residential real estate side, I've really redirected my objectives to getting the Immoviewer platform into the hands of as many realtors as possible, so that at the moment that it becomes something they're interested in, they already have it.
Hmm.
There's another thing that they're getting as a benefit, this video tour that we create. So it's, people, we, so there are, again, a couple 100,000 realtors in the country who get a video created for them from their listing photos for free by Immoviewer. They pay nothing. The vast majority of the realtors on our platform pay us nothing, and they receive something for every single listing they get. Every single one.
And
And
that's because there's a deal between their brokerage firm.
there's a deal between their association and us. And so every single one of those agents has an Immoviewer 3D 360 account available to them. If they've got a 360 camera, they can create as many Immoviewer tours as they want at no charge.
Okay, and suppose I'm a real estate agent and I don't have that. Then who should I talk to get that?
I would call their association. It's much better for us to have a deal at the association level.
Yeah. And that's
Now
typically how your business model is set up. You go up more. Yeah.
Our business model is set up to work at the association level because I personally believe that these Ken Burns style videos created from images are not a differentiator. It should be something that just standard, like that's what everybody should have as the default option. Replace that with an actual video. Add on to that a 3D 360 virtual tour and a floor plan. You want to cover the full gamut. You've got photos, you've got obviously full description, listing information, great photos, a great video, a 360 tour, a floor plan. That's it. You've covered the gamut. I can't ask for anything more as a consumer at that point. So we really want to cover this without having to lift a finger. You're going to get this video that's created from your images, and you're going to get an unbranded landing page that you can utilize, and you're going to have a 360 account. If you create a 360 tour, we'll attach that 360 tour to that unbranded landing page so that now that becomes the first thing the consumer sees. If you add a floor plan to it, it automatically gets added into the
Yeah, it's all automated.
tour.
Yeah. Terrific. All right. So if you're interested in this, you need to who do they contact? You?
Send a message to help@immoviewer.us.
So Immoviewer is spelled
IMMOVIEWER.us.
It's just like it sounds. Two M's.
Just like it sounds.
MO and viewer.us. Okay. Yeah, that's terrific. So the one thing that I've heard from real estate agents is it has to be easy. It has to give return on investment, right?
Sure.
There has to be some kind of benefit. So do most of these agents take the photos themselves, or do they get somebody else to do it?
I think it's about 50-50. I think about 50% of agents in the United States have their photographer take the 360 images, or they hire a company. You know, we've got a company that utilizes True Place, for example, that's based in Washington, D.C. They use Immoviewer as the platform for their 360 photos. They actually create their 360 photos using DSLR cameras. So their images are just spectacular. But the other half are agents that have bought a Ricoh Theta V or a MadVenture 360 or some other 360 camera, and they're just creating the tours themselves. They're super easy. They're just
It's
ridiculous.
very easy. I can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it because I'm not a photographer. Yeah, and the Ricoh Theta Z1s are really good. They have good quality. I mean, they're
I've got a Theta Z1 almost within arm reach if my cord can stretch.
So yeah, I mean, I mean, when I was at Matterport, they were like, yeah, this is the camera that's going to rival the Matterport camera. So,
I think the Theta Z1 does a really good job with color. Does a really good job stitching HDR. It's a great camera. It's probably the best camera for doing a home virtual tour that I've ever used because of how simple it is. There are cameras that have higher resolution, but I don't know that they do quite a good a job with the color rendering inside of the images. The Ricoh Theta Z1 it's a fabulous little camera.
it is, and it's worth the investment.
It's $999. You know, if you're going to spend $2,500 on a Matterport camera and go through the pain of now I'm editorializing and go through the pain of creating a Matterport tour. Now, what you're going to get on the back end, and honestly, I love Matterport technology. I think it's fabulous technology.
I agree.
Like it's stunning. But time on site and the expense associated with it, if you're really talking about what's the ROI, you really have to think about that. How much time am I spending on
Yeah.
site? Am I going to get an adequate, more than adequate virtual tour out of a Ricoh Theta V? Yes, and that's only $499. Could I use a lower priced Xiaomi Mi Sphere, $199? Yes, it's actually higher resolution. You're not going to get HDR, but it's higher resolution. And so you have so many options as a realtor on the price of these cameras. And with any of those cameras, we don't care. If you want
Yes.
to use our desktop app and you want to use a Samsung 360 camera that you got 4 years ago with the Samsung phone that you bought and you have never had a reason to use it, you can upload any 360 photo from any 360 camera using our desktop app, and we'll create a floor plan from that.
Yeah. So it's camera agnostic, right?
We're the only cameras that you have to worry about is if you want to use our mobile app to actually create the tour. Otherwise, our desktop app supports every single
You're
360
just
camera
you're
that
just
exports a standard 2 by 1
so
equal
you're yeah,
rectangular.
you're looking for the equirectangular, the
That's all.
panos. Yeah.
That's all we're looking for is the equirectangular image.
Yeah. So you have Matterport, which is more high end. You spend
Mhm.
more money. It takes longer on site. The Matterport technology, I agree, is top notch. It's the culture that sucks, and they don't really care about the customers or listen. And then you have on the other hand, you have like the Cubicasa app where you have to scan. You don't even know what you're going to get because you walk away from there with no feedback. It tends to crash a lot. It doesn't work, and you get something that's not even true. It's not accurate. And so here now you have this thing. You can go and take these 360s, but when you're taking 360s to get your floor plan, you're also getting the 360 photos, right?
And the 360 tour. And the argument I've been making to people like Michael Werzer at Flex, why doesn't the MLS support the equirectangular metadata? Why doesn't every MLS just allow someone to upload a 360
Mm-hmm.
image and
Yeah.
have it appear like it does when you upload to Facebook?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes no sense. This standard has been around for years and years and years. So I think there's all sorts of changes that
It's
really
definitely
should be made.
coming. I mean, yeah, the real estate market is known to be kind of slow, right? They don't want to change necessarily. It's just known. But again, so now we have this Immo viewer who you don't have to do things twice. So you don't have to take your pictures and then go back and scan for a floor plan. You don't have to spend a lot of time on a camera and time scanning with the Matterport camera that's slow. And this is automated. So this is scalable. So you can go and you can cover every floor plan in the US without any issues at all. This is the answer. The hotspot on how to look at photos is the answer. It tells the consumer exactly where each picture was taken. It gives them way more
I think so.
information. Um, Guys, this is it. I'm very excited about this company. I'm very excited about, you know,
We appreciate your
where you're going.
excitement.
I love Jeff. He's so fun and easy to talk to. We've laughed a lot, and so yeah. So take a look at ImmoViewer. If you don't have it now, one of the ways you can to try to get it is write to help@immoviewer.us.
Mhm.
Convince your association to offer this. They'll set up a deal with Jeff. You'll get it for free. What's better than
I
that,
can't
right?
I can't make a better price.
Yeah. All right. So, and then in 2 weeks from now, if you're in the restoration or insurance market, tune in because we'll be talking about DocuSketch, which is sort of the rival of TrueSketch with Matterport, which is also a very exciting thing going on with this company. So yeah,
Awesome.
and then when will you have time to talk a little bit about virtual staging and what you're doing with that, or
Yeah, I mean, we tend to launch everything in Europe first, and so we've been doing virtual staging in Europe for the last 2 years. We've got it down to a science. There are certain things we're attempting to automate. We have a concept that I really love that I've dubbed reverse staging. It's basically because of the way that we create floor plans. Our floor plans are also a three-dimensional model, just walls, doors, windows. Imagine if you could instantly, fully automated, declutter a house and have it just show as painted walls with carpet on the floor and empty. So you've got this cluttered house where people have a hard time visualizing something.
Yeah.
And if you can say, I want to do what we're calling reverse staging, where
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about furniture styles or anything else. All you're really trying to do is to say, I want to see this house empty, ivory walls,
You
standard
know,
floor, just so that I can visualize it.
it's funny that you say that because recently I saw an instance where the homeowner couldn't clean up this one room. So they just moved all the stuff that they didn't want in the photo to one side. And then they just took that out in the final picture. So it left the other furniture, but it
Yeah,
was genius. It's like, okay, you don't have to really clean up your house. Just
right.
put all the crap on one side.
Well, listen, I think there's lots of interesting things that are happening inside of three-dimensional spaces. I think
Yes.
there are ways to automate some of these processes if you've got the right object to work with. And and for us, the floor plan, because of the way we create the floor plans, for every floor plan we create, we also have a 3D model. So what can you do once you have a 3D model? You can do a lot.
Yeah. So so are your floor plans available as a 3D floor plan or do you only
For an
provide?
extra fee, yes.
Ah.
So
And
we have a dollhouse. Our dollhouse is different than the dollhouse that Matterport uses. You can actually separate the floors. You can
mhm,
turn off floors so you can just look at a single floor.
mhm.
Um, Again, because of the way, because of how our objects are oriented, we have the ability to do some interesting things with the three-dimensional objects.
And what format do your floor plans come in?
JPEG and PNG. We don't provide a PDF of the floor plans at this point, though
Okay, but that's easy
we
to
probably
create.
will. Yeah, yeah.
And
We could export in any way you wanted.
so what if I wanted to pull it into some kind of CAD program like Revit?
We don't provide the OBJ files, so we could provide OBJ files. We don't typically. We do when we're doing third integrations with third parties. We can provide an integration with the OBJ files. We don't typically just allow you to download those OBJ files.
Okay, but typically in a for real estate agents they don't use that.
Most real estate agents aren't playing around in
Yeah.
3D software now.
That is true. So you'll want to tune in 2 weeks from now when we talk about DocuSketch, which is a whole different ball game because then
Whole different ball game.
you want to exactimate like SKX files, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, everybody, thank you so much, Jeff, for joining
Oh,
us
it's my
today.
pleasure. Thanks, Dee.
It's been a lot of fun, and I've learned a lot. And if you haven't checked them out yet, you need to check them out because this is it. This is Immoviewer. Write to help at immoviewer.us. Get your association to sign up. You'll get it for free. What more can I say? Everybody, thank you for joining me.
Thanks,
This
Dee.
has been
Really appreciate it.
Capture the World with Dee. I'll catch you all next week. Bye bye.